Equivalent to the French and Algeria, England and Ireland.
What do you think about the special operation in Ukraine?
Well, it's not a special operation, it's invasion and occupation.
Yeah. And what do you think about it?
What do I think about it? I think it is a war of aggression. And being in Britain as a country over the last 30 years that's been involved in wars of aggression, it makes me hard to damn it completely, but any war of aggression should be damned. It was needless. There's political solutions to any problem that was had there.
Mainly, I don't know anything about the specific details about the Ukraine war, but I generally think that it's definitely a big proxy war done by the United States. And that's all that I know, and that's all that there is to know.
I don't know why this has happened because they're supposed to be brothers. I don't know what this has happened. It shouldn't be like that. And every Ukrainian guy I say, we are brothers, why this has happened? Same thing. I don't know. I've been to Russia, I've been to Ukraine myself. I shouldn't be. It's really sad.
I think it's a war against humanity. I think two Slavic people fighting against each other, it's horrendous in my opinion. They should find a common ground between each other. There's plenty of land in the north of Europe and the north of Asia for Russia, not to grab anybody else's land and enforce their views in other people's business. As I said, the two brothers, they share the same history. They shouldn't be fighting. They should be an example to the world. That's my honest opinion. And the regime of Russia right now, it just tells us there is nothing different from the Nazis in 1940s.
What do you mean, Putin's invasion?
Yes.
It's a colonial war.
Yeah.
It's equivalent to the French and Algeria, England and Ireland.
Russia's invasion?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm dismayed that there's another area of conflict in the world, but this is not a recent thing. This is a war that's been going on for several years. It's just now it's been drawn into media attention a lot more over the last year. But really, it's been going on since Russia tried to reclaim the Crimea. So I feel like whereas there's no potential for any kind of peace at the minute. Probably won't be whilst Putin stays in power. So it's kind of a feeling that, it's an area where, it's great that there's still media attention, and as soon as the West starts losing that attention, then that could be a problem.
Well, it's not really a special operation, it's a war. So, I mean, it's completely unjustified, and I think it's part of Putin's attempt to sort of justify his seizure of power in Russia for the past 20 years.
Damn, that's a broad question. I guess overall it's a bad thing. I'm not going to deny there were some Western influences with NATO moving closer to their border, but I just think it's an example of absolute power corrupts absolutely, really. Essentially you just have one guy, Putin, who is just abusing his power, and I think it speaks to the importance of democracy.
It's beyond ridiculous.
Why?
They haven't given a reason for it.
But what about when they say that there's neo-Nazis in Western Ukraine and in the Ukrainian army?
Well, the people in Ukraine that they're saying that about are actually Russian, living in Ukraine, so how are they neo-Nazis if Russia is not neo-Nazis?
But what if they say that there's Ukrainian people in Western Ukraine who are neo-Nazis?
That's down to them. There's a lot of neo-Nazis everywhere in the world. We've got them here.
I don't know much about it, but obviously we are Team Ukraine.
Yeah? Why?
Just everything about Putin is not moral.
I think the special operation by Russia, I think it's an act of aggression towards Ukraine. I think they're trying to reclaim territory that I do not think is rightfully theirs. I think it's the right of the Ukrainian people to have it, and I don't think it's a good move by Russia.
Special military operation, do you mean what the Russians are doing in the Ukraine?
It's an invasion by Russia trying to steal the country.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts about it?
I think it's a disgrace today that a country like Russia thinks that it can just walk into another autonomous country and just declare that it's theirs. I think it's
almost thievery.
I think the leader is brilliant. I don't know where he gets his stamina from to deal with Putin. And the wider world needs to step up very quickly. They should have stepped up before.
Special military operation, as in by the Russians.
Yeah.
I don't really approve of it, to be honest. I think it's wrong.
Why do you not approve of it?
Well, it strikes me that they're going into they're trying to displace a democratically elected government against what seemingly, from what I believe, against the will of the people.
Yeah.
The people of Ukraine.
I think it's a disaster. It's the worst thing that Putin's ever done.
Why do you think it's a disaster?
Because vast numbers of people, Russian people, are dying for no reason at all.
I think it's pretty good, actually, yeah.
Why?
Because it might mean an end to the war, hopefully.
But what do you think about the whole concept of the...
It's got to end soon, you know. It can't go on forever. It's been on for too long, actually.
What do you think about the special military operation in Ukraine?
Well, it's quite clearly not a special operation. It's a war.
Yeah.
And what do you think of
it? There's no reason for it, I think. By the sounds of it, I don't know anything much about it, but the Russians are just being greedy and need to just back off.
From which point of view are we talking?
Your personal opinion.
My personal opinion is...
It's just really sad what's happening over there.
It's tragic. It's more than tragic. Every country should be helping.
And hopefully we can all unite to stop what's going on and prevent it from happening again.
I think it's illegal and it was an invasion of an independent country.
Are you saying the Russian invasion?
Yeah.
I think it's out of line, but it's kind of in line with Putin's general behavior. And I don't agree with it.
What kind of behavior?
Just his lack of regard for any kind of international laws or doing kind of whatever he wants to do to suit his own purpose, basically. Extending what he's already done in Crimea, I guess. I don't know what the actual point of the war is, to be perfectly honest, apart from gaining new territory and creating a global energy crisis.
Kind of, I guess a bit dismayed because I can't see there being any kind of resolution until there's a change of power in Russia. So, and even then, it depends who then comes into power. It could be somebody worse than Putin. Who knows? So,
don't really know much about it, but I just don't feel like whatever's going on in Ukraine makes sense. So that's pretty much it.
You think it does or it doesn't make sense?
I think it don't make sense.
Why not?
I feel like it's just putting a lot of innocent people at risk, you know what I mean? And that's pretty much the main thing. A lot of people don't deserve what's happening out there, and that's pretty much it, really. This happens around the world everywhere, but when it's highlighted in certain places, you've got to see it for what it is.
So I think it's sort of like after a year now, it kind of becomes just another one of those news stories in the background, but I think it was very unjust in its kind of start, and the fact that it's gone on this long, it kind of only makes it more and more concerning to me. And the fact that the news cycle's kind of got past it and it's kind of not this main news story anymore is a bit concerning, and I also feel like I don't really know what's going on like I did before.
Well, I think it's horrendous. I think it's extraordinary that one man can cause so much devastation.
I don't really have a clue, but to me it looks like one country's just starting a war with another country. So to me, it just looks like one country's. It looks like Russia's bullying Ukraine. So they should just go away and leave it alone.
Well, I think it's interesting.
Are we talking about Russia in Ukraine?
Yes.
I think it's wrong. There's something very unethical about the fact that you go into another man's country and invade under the guise of it being special military operation. So something about that is not right, from that perspective. Yeah.
I condemn it, basically.
Any other thoughts about it?
I'm not super informed, but I don't know. I think that there are other ways to solve conflicts, and I don't even understand the legitimacy of invading Ukraine in the first place on Russia's side, and yeah, I think that's my main thoughts.
I'm not sure what that is because you never really get to the truth, do you? You don't know what's going on in the war situation. Only what the West is telling. May not be true, may be true. You don't know. I'm skeptical about what they're telling me.
I think it's really upsetting, all the civilians getting killed in the middle between Putin and, well, just everyone. And my heart goes out to all the innocent people who have been caught up in the mess. Yeah, it's heartbreaking to watch. Yeah.